morning, ma'am and sir. My name is Helga Hanusa, and in this time, I'm going to present my proposal with the title Using Tongue Twister Technique to Improve EFL Students' Pronunciation, a Classroom Action Research at 11th grade of SMA Negeri 13 Maluku Barat Daya. So in this proposal, there are three chapters. The first one is about background of the study, the second one is about review of literature, and the third one is about research of methodology. English language is considered as one of the global languages in the world and used as a communication tool to give information, express idea, and build a conversation with other people around the globe. According to Crystal in 2003, English becomes a priority in a country's foreign language teaching, even though this language has no official status. Based on that fact, most people, more specifically English foreign language learners, expect to be capable in English, including oral and written communication. However, in oral communication, many non-native English speakers who studied English for years still make so many mistakes and unable to communicate very well. And one of the reasons for that failure is pronunciation. Error pronunciation influenced how the communication is produced and becoming one of the significant obstacles to communicate effectively. According to Fraser in 2000, explained that speaking English with good pronunciation is the most important thing. Without having the proper knowledge of the sound pattern of the language, the students cannot process the correct utterance and unable to have a good speaking. So let's move into the preliminary study. In order to analyze the problem in research subject, the researcher conducted a preliminary study at 11.1 of SMA Negeri 13 Maluku Barat Daya through interview with English teacher. Also, the researcher spread the questionnaires for some students. And the result of the preliminary study has successfully noted some problems related to the research subject. And based on the responses, they agreed that it's challenging to practice pronunciation. Also, there are three conclusions that researcher found. The first one is they tend to make an error while pronouncing some words. The second is sometimes they worry about pronouncing several words because they are afraid to make mistakes. And the third, they agreed that the teacher did not provide a specific technique in pronunciation practice in learning English. Also, there is a result from teacher's interview. She said that almost all students still have a problem with pronunciation. She said that there is no technique used to improve students' pronunciation because when she asked them to pronounce some words, there were only several students who followed her instruction. This is because the others are worried about making mistakes, even though most students lack motivation in speaking. So rather than teach them the specific technique in pronunciation, the teacher just asked them to memorize some vocabulary and teach them how to pronounce that vocabulary. In this research, there is only one research question, is how can tongue twister technique improve students' pronunciation? And of course, there's only one research purpose. It is to describe whether tongue twister technique can improve students' pronunciation. So, due to the problem that researcher found in preliminary study, the researcher think that there must be a technique applied in the teaching process. And to solve EFL students' problem in pronunciation, the researcher chose tongue twister technique to improve EFL student pronunciation. According to Gonzalez in 2009, tongue twister is often used to practice pronunciation. Tongue twister leads the students to have a clear pronunciation, clear speech pattern, and help them pay attention to pronouncing some words. Also, encourage the student to identify the difference between vowel and consonant. So in chapter 2 is about review of literature. There are 4 parts. The first one is theoretical review. The second one is tongue twister. The third one is empirical review, and the last is conceptual framework. So the first part, it is theoretical review, contains of 5 elements. The first one is definition of pronunciation, feature of pronunciation, the significance of teaching and learning pronunciations, teachers' role in teaching pronunciation, the indicators of students' achievements in pronunciation. And the second part is about tongue twister. There are 3 components. The first one is definition of tongue twister in teaching pronunciation, and the procedures of tongue twister. And the third one is empirical review, and the last is conceptual framework. So now let's move into the last chapter, is about research methodology. The first one is research design. The method that the researcher used to conduct this study is classroom action research. According to Taggart in 1997, cited in Adikunto, Suharjono, and Supardi in 2015, classroom action research is an approach to improve quality of the teaching and learning process by making changes towards improvement, learning methods or strategies to improve the process and learning outcomes in education. So next is research procedures. In research procedures, the first step is planning. In planning, the researcher prepare lesson plan and research schedule. In the next step is action. In action, the researcher implementing tongue twister technique. In evaluation, the researcher collect and sort the data from using tongue twister technique. And in the next step is reflection. In reflection, the researcher discuss and analyze the result of students' test based on the indicator of success. And if tongue twister is success, the researcher will stop and report. But if the tongue twister technique is fail, then the researcher will go to the next cycle. Next is setting and time of the study. Setting and time of the study in SMA Negeri 13 Maluku Barat Daya, located in Tiakur, Moa, at class of 11 MIA 1. And population of the study, there are 6 classes of class 11, which are 3 class of MIA, Matematika Ilmu Alam, and 3 class of IIS, Ilmu Sosial. And the next is subject of the study. The subject of the study is 11 MIA 1 in academic year 2020 and 2021. Consists of 30 students. Next is technique of collecting data. There are 3 techniques that I use. The first is test, including pre-test and post-test, and the type of test is oral test, and both pre-test and post-test consist of 20 questions and have the same questions. And the second technique is observation checklist. The researcher used the observation checklist to record the activity of students during pre, whilst, and post activity. And the last technique is interview. The researcher will interview the students in the study to know about their responses in the use of tongue twister technique. And this is the technique of analyzing data. The first one is test. In test, the score of test are gained through the following calculation. Test item is 20 and scoring guide. The first point is 1 point for correct pronunciation and 0 point for incorrect pronunciation. And the next is observation checklist. Observation checklist will be used as one of the data collection and will be analyzed descriptively. So, ma'am and sir, that's all about my presentation. and thank you.